Well, I think what he means is they really don't give a lot of turnovers, and if there's one thing that the Saints have been doing well, that's getting turnovers. Their inside linebacker, Sam Mills, was telling us last night that at first we started to get a couple of turnovers. Then we believed that we could get them. Now we're going after them. They have +9 in the turnover ratio. Now, I think that coupled with the fact that it's raining out there today, may help them, because the only way I can see the Saints beating the Jets is by getting those turnovers.
The New York Jets have won the toss, and they will receive Morton Anderson's kickoff. JoJo Townsell and Bobby Humphrey will be back deep for the Jets. 6-1 against 3-4. Anderson, one of the best. And, of course, Pat Leahy, his opposite on the Jets, is also working on a record and one of the best as well. JoJo Townsell and Bobby Humphrey back deep for New York. Anderson's left-footed kickoff is a good one. Humphrey a yard or two deep in the end zone, fumbles, and he'll stay there. So the Jets will come out and operate from their own 20. Quarterback Ken O'Brien, and the defense that he'll be looking at will be a 3-4 setup. Clark and Wilkes the ends, Elliott the nose tackle. Jackson, Mills, Tolles, and Haynes the linebackers. And the secondary, Weimer and Poe the cornerbacks, and Gibson and Watlett the safety men. 1st and 10, Jets at their own 20. Kuhn is split wide to the left. McNeil and Hector are the running backs. And it's outside to Johnny Hector. And Hector outside the 20 to about the 23. Let's look at that Jet offense. O'Brien, the quarterback, McNeil and Hector, the two runners, Toon and Wesley Walker, the wide receivers. Up front, Sweeney, Banker, Bingham, Alexander, King, and Mickey Schuler is the tight end. It'll be 2nd and 7. Rain all morning, and it continues to pelt down. McNeil is out, and Tony Page is the other running back now, number 49. Cleaver was the man in motion. It'll be Hector. Hector hit right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard, no more than that. Jim Wilkes.
You know, it's interesting, Pat, that the Jets didn't start Wesley Walker at the outside receiver. They started Rocky Cleaver, so they have two tight ends in there, Schuler and Cleaver. Now we see Walker's coming in for the 3rd down play, but they use Cleaver as a wide receiver. He was lined up outside.
It'll be 3rd and 6 now. Jets operating from their own 24. First possession of the game. Walker split wide to the left. And McNeil and Hector are behind O'Brien. Under pressure, lost the ball. The Saints have it. James Geathers, Jumpy Geathers, put the pressure on and came up with the ball as well.
Well, that was the thing the Saints were talking about last night. You know, they felt that they can get turnovers and that they're going for them now. The Saints, normally a 3-man rush team. On passing downs, they go to a 4-man rush. We see James Geathers come through that time. He's the big guy that plays over the guard on the pass rush situation.
6'7" and 290 is Jumpy Geathers. That's his nickname. The turnover ratio for the Saints in 1986, and that's up to date. They are a +10 net, and that's good. They have it 1st and 10 at the Jets' 17-yard line. Pitch it back to Reuben Mays. And Mays is down inside the 20 to about the 19. Joe Klecko, the stop. Let's look at the Jets' defense now. Dave Wilson, the Saints quarterback, looks at that group. Marty Lyons and Joe Klecko and Barry Bennett. Jackson, Clifton, Lance Mell, and Bob Crable up front are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Holmes, Carter, Lyles, and Hamilton. 2nd and 7 as Mays got 3 on 1st down. Wilson back to throw. Has his tight end John Tice knocked out of bounds at about the 15 by Lester Lyles. A pickup of only 4.
You know, both of these teams are using 2 tight ends. Here they go. We see how the Saints are picking up Joe Klecko inside. That's going to be a big thing. You know, he gets up there so tight to the center that, you know, he makes the center nervous. But Court did a good job on that one. He let him get by him, and then he came straight back to the quarterback.
That's going to be an interesting battle all day. 3rd and 4. Ball's at the 11. Wilson, forward handoff to May. No place to go. No first down. Harry Hamilton on the stop, and the Saints will have to settle for a field goal attempt, I believe.
Well, you know, they were talking about patience, and they don't want to do anything. They don't want to give back the turnover. Watch Brad Edelman get that block there, number 63, the lead guard. He got one, but there were 4 more white jerseys there. I think what the Saints are trying to do is they got a turnover. They don't want to force anything. They want to be patient themselves. If they get the play by Mays, okay. If not, settle for the early field goal and the early lead.
Morton Anderson will try the field goal from 26 yards away, and it's good. And the Saints take advantage of that turnover, get a field goal of 26 yards from Anderson, and lead 3-0.
This fabulous official NFL travel bag, complete with your team's emblem and colors, can be yours free. It's yours when you buy 10 rolls or more of energy-saving Owens Corning insulation.
Looking out for you with the Toyota 4x4s. They give you power, performance, your pleasure.
Looking out for number 1.
Who could ask for anything more?
It's time to change your light bulb. Philips Longer Life Square bulbs last 33% longer than ordinary round bulbs.
Mogul One synthetic motor oil. No matter what you drive, or how you drive, or where you drive, or what conditions you drive under. With Mogul synthetic oil technology, there's no finer engine protection on Earth or anywhere else.
The Saints lead the Jets 3-0. First quarter, there is the Saints' new head coach, Jim Mora. A very impressive individual. Very honest and very frank with us when we discussed his team with him last night.
You know, it was interesting. He was a teammate and roommate for 4 years at Jack Kemp. And when you speak to him, he has a lot of the same mannerisms as Kemp, doesn't he?
He really does.
I could see how they could be roommates.
Morton Anderson, left-footed kickoff. Line drive. Bobby Humphrey, about a yard deep in the end zone. Got some room and is finally upended, and a penalty marker goes down. Russell Gray made the stop. A return of 21, but I'm sure they'll call it back for illegal use of the hands. Gene Barth, again, as the referee. We've seen a lot of Gene.
Seems like every week,
Illegal
wherever we go.
Number 49 during the run back, half the distance to the goal.
Wherever we go, Gene goes, it seems.
Tony Page.
Watch it. It's right there, right there. See, he gets him. He starts okay, and then he ended up. Now, I don't know that that's right. The officials are supposed to see the whole contact. That's what Tony Page is talking about. Because if you start the contact in front, and if it's continuous contact, then it's okay.
First down, Jets. They operate from their own 8-yard line. Here comes counter trade. That familiar play. Johnny Hector breaks it outside the 10 to about the 13. Frank Watlett came up and made the stop.
Watch it from the end zone here, and you'll see both the right guard and tackle pulling. You see the guard pulls, he kicks out, the tackle pulls, he gets a lead, and then, of course, the back, Johnny Hector's right in behind him.
The ball squirted loose, but went out of bounds. A gain of 7, perhaps, make it 2nd and 3. Kurt Sohn in the game now for the Jets and split wide to the right. Toon is down to the left. To Hector. Hector hammers outside the 15. That's close to a first down. Maybe not quite. Ricky Jackson on the stop.
You know, with the Jets this year, they have Dan Radakovich now, who's the offensive line coach. He was a linebacker coach last year, and I've always felt that he was one of the best offensive line coaches in football. You know, he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers
Right.
and the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl, and now he's with the Jets, and I think he's done an outstanding job with this offensive line.
You know, I think that's one of the things that Joe Walton has done very astutely, John. That is pick a very good assistant coaching staff.
Well, you know, that's a big part of the deal. I mean, the head coach can do so much, but the teaching and, you know, for each specific group is done by the assistant coaches, and they're darn near as important as any head coach.
They do most of the coaching, as a matter of fact, in most cases. Bud Carson runs the Jet defense, by the way. Schuler is the move man. And here comes the play to Hector again. Hector flips it into the Saints secondary. Gets outside the 25. Frank Watlet again on the stop. A gain of 7 by Hector.
You know, it's an interesting thing. You know, you always hate to see injuries, but sometimes when a Freeman McNeil goes down, you hate to see that happen, but that gives Johnny Hector a chance. And then when a McNeil gets healthy, you have a better team. You have a McNeil and a Hector. And as we see now, I think McNeil is having a tough time getting back on that field the way Johnny Hector's running the ball.
2nd down and 3. The ball's at the Jet 25. First quarter. Same play the other way. And Hector again gets good yardage. And another Jet first down. A gain of 7 again. Antonio Gibson and Watlet. And when the safety men make that many tackles, you got a problem.
Well, you know, the Jets are having a lot of success with 2 tight ends. They've been using that. They had good success with 2 and 3 tight ends last week. They're playing this whole game, or starting this game, with 2 tight ends. And I'll tell you, that gives a 3-4 defense a tough time. You know, because you have a tight end on either side. And it's hard to know which side's strength is.
First down Jets at their own 32. Schuler, the move man. Brian fakes. Has plenty of time, gets it outside to Hector, who makes a one-hand grab and then slides out of bounds with Ricky Jackson close to him. Pickup of 3.
He had 2 guys over there short. Watch him. He goes to fake, and now he's coming back here to the right. He has the back underneath Hector right there, and he had Cleaver on the next play. I mean, 5 yards up above him. Of course, the whole thing is made possible here by pass protection. Now, Bruce Clark, number 75, is the best pass rusher on the Saints. You see, Gordon King did a good job.
2nd down, fumble. And it looks like the Saints might have come out there with. They did. Frank Watlet. A fumble by Hector, and Watlet got it in the air. Couldn't get away. Freeman McNeil was the ball carrier. Beg your pardon.
You know, it's interesting how success breeds success. You know, the Saints start to get some turnovers. Then they start believing in it. Then they get everyone around the ball. You see, they had like 4 or 5 tacklers on him, and there was Frank Watlet right there to get the fumble when it popped up. Everyone getting to the ball.
Now they're plus 11 in their turnover ratio.
John Houseman for the investment firm of Smith Barney.
Exactly how much money do you make? What are you worth? There is nothing more personal than the subject of money. That's why Smith Barney will have no truck with investments that aren't sensitive to your circumstances. That's why clients stay clients. Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
This is for anyone tempted to fool around with cocaine. Your money's going to run out before your habit does. Then what? You're going to lie. You're going to cheat. You're going to steal. You're going to do anything you have to. That's what cocaine does to you. I know. That's what it did to me. I was one guitar strum away from wrecking my whole life. I was a real messed up cowboy. Don't let anyone or anything push you into doing cocaine. Just say no.
Looking out for number 1.
The Toyota 1 ton. No truck in its class holds more. It can even outcarry any mid-sized truck.
Looking out for #1.
Who could ask for anything more?
Canon's new personal copiers come in 4 colors and copy in 5.
Red's your color.
And this replaceable cartridge makes them simple, even for you.
Lighten up, Jack.
They are light. Here.
What a guy.
For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-Canon.
Okay, now watch his fumble again. Freeman McNeil. It's the first time Hector didn't carry the ball. McNeil starts in here. Now he's all right there. He hasn't fumbled. We stop right there. Now he's going to spin. Jim Wilkes hits him in the back right here, and the ball pops out. Now watch him. See, he's okay. He hadn't fallen down. Now right there, just as he spins, Wilkes hit him in the back. Boom! And there was Frank Watler.
And so it's 1st and 10 for the Saints at the Jet 36. They lead 3-0. Tice was the move man. Wilson goes back to throw if he has time. And he does. Incomplete. Down the middle, intended for Mike Jones. Wilson had to move a little bit. Jerry Holmes was the defender. New England leads Buffalo 7-0. Indianapolis Colts and Miami tied at 7. And Pittsburgh 3-0 over Cincinnati. And the Bears have moved in front. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 36. Saints leading 3-0 on a 26-yard field goal by Morton Anderson. They have had 2 turnovers. Dalton Hilliard is split wide to the right. Wilson back to throw, and this time he has time. And the pass is incomplete, knocked loose. Intended for Hilliard. Harry Hamilton applied the hit.
I'll tell you one thing, Joe Klecko has his work cut out today. Watch him, 73 there. Now he's going against Steve Court. Now Court is a big, strong guy. Watch him here. He got him. Boom, he gets a little help from Chuck Comiskey, his right guard, but they put Klecko on the ground, and that gave Wilson the area that he could stand up and throw the ball. You have to have pass protection to start a game.
So that brings up a 3rd and 10 situation. Goodlow and Jones split wide to the left, and Martin down to the right. Jets fake a blitz. Out of the pocket comes Wilson, incomplete. Heavy pressure by the Jets defensive line. Klecko, Gastineau, Marty Lyons.
I'll tell you, Joe Klecko won that battle.
That's Lance Mell, the Jet linebacker, who's down. And that's Klecko coming up to check.
Yeah, we saw the play before where Court won it. Now watch right up the middle. You see Klecko get that push. Now that was the thing that flushed him out. That and seeing Lance Mell come free. Now Wilson couldn't step up and throw, and he had to get out to the right side of the pocket.
Lance Mell, the Jet linebacker, hurting. 8:05 left to play in the first quarter, and the Saints lead the Jets 3-0.
Zinfandel, Gewürztraminer, Sauvignon Blanc, Johannesburg Riesling, Cabernet Sauvignon. The vintage-dated varietal wines of Ernest and Julio Gallo. Among the most respected in America. Among the most respected in the world. Today's Gallo. All the best a wine can be.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers, we get some pretty tough customers.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
But we don't mind.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler!
Meineke's the nation's discount muffler leader, so you're not going to pay a lot. Our quality Everlast mufflers are priced from $18.93 installed.
Woo! I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
You're not going to pay a lot at Meineke.
Kareem and the Lakers go out for revenge against the team that stunned them into playoff submission, the towering Rockets of Houston. The rematch next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Lance Mill up on his feet now. He didn't really get hit that hard. It's hard to tell what sort of an injury. It might be a knee.
Well, you know what it looked like happened, Pat? He's right here. He's going to come on pursuit, but Gastineau comes up, and he had to pull up to avoid hitting his own man, and it looked like he just kind of stubbed his foot or his toe. Watch him there. He's chasing. Now watch, he pulls up here. See, and he plants that thing, and Gastineau steps on his foot at the same time. Now, it looks like it's either his right knee. I'm sure it is his right knee.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And there's Mark Gastineau walking off the field with him because it was not contact by a New Orleans Saint. It was contact by Gastineau.
Brian Hansen now, when we come back, will hold for Morton Anderson. And this will be from 53 yards out. He's got enough power to get it there. He is 0 for 2, however, this year. That could be. And it is from 53 yards out by Morton Anderson. And the Saints increase their lead to 6-0. All the points have resulted, all 6 of them, as a result of turnovers. It always seems to be the case. Anderson's happy with himself, and he should be.
You know, it seems like kickers like those long ones, don't they? Because they don't have the pressure. They're really not expected. You know, anytime it's go 53, if you miss it, so what? So they can just kind of get that adrenaline pumping and boom, get everything into it.
First quarter, Green Bay ahead of San Francisco 7-0. Kansas City has just gone ahead of Tampa Bay 7-3. Touchdown by Mike Pruitt. Saints, excuse me, John, go ahead.
I was just going to say an interesting thing in Morton Anderson is he has one white shoe and one black shoe. See, I guess they have one foot. I guess the white one is for the plant and the left one is for the kick. Is that the way those guys do it?
They go at it in a different fashion than I did, so I can't explain that. Maybe it's just to get attention.
Look at that thing on the right foot. That's an old Canadian shoe they use for AstroTurf.
Soccer shoe, I think.
Look, he got that one, and the black one got a star on it.
Yep.
The white one looks like an old tennis shoe. Something, that's the kind of shoes I wear.
The difference is he ties them.
So you got the little towel.
Right.
And he wipes off that toe with a kick shoe. So you got your plant shoe, your kick shoe, but you only wipe your kick shoe. And to remind you which one it is, you have different colors, I think.
And, of course, don't forget the towel. Anderson lines this one, and he really hit it. About 6 yards deep in the end zone, and Bobby Humphrey chooses not to bring it out. So the Jets will take over at their own 20. 1st and 10. On a rainy day like this, any kind of lead can be significant. Minnesota 3-0 over Cleveland. 7:55 left to play in the first quarter. Still raining, though not quite as hard as it was earlier. The umbrellas are out and a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, and, you know, playing on the field, anytime it rains, that should equal mud. But when you rain into carpet, it equals nothing.
O'Brien goes to work. Pass almost picked off by Sam Mills. Intended for Tony Page. Mills had a shot at it. A very interesting guy, Sam Mills. He's just 5'9", and he was sure that we would say he was 5'9 3/4. Emphatic about it, he was.
Well, he wanted to be 5'9 3/4. Anytime you're 5'9", any little fraction over that. You know, I mean, he gave up years ago trying to be 5'10". Now he's shooting. Give me 5'9 3/4.
He went to college at Montclair State, which is nearby. He's a good player. Draw play to Hector. Hector tries to get outside. Gets a couple of yards before Sam Mills brings him down. Got 3 yards.
You know, one thing about Sam Mills and only being 5'9", one, you have to have a heck of a lot of determination. You know, he tried to get in the NFL, and he'd been cut there. Then he went to the USFL. He played for Jim Mora with the Stars. But he said, I knew I could play in the NFL if someone would give me a chance. but how many times do you give a 5'9" guy a chance to be an NFL middle linebacker?
Well, Jim Morris said last night, hey, when we started looking at films and doing the grading and stuff, he was just very simply the best player they had. I don't care how big he is. 3rd down and 7. O'Brien gets it outside to Mickey Schuler. That's enough for a first down. Antonio Gibson.
You know the interesting thing, the Jets have 3 tight ends, Mickey Schuler, Rocky Cleaver, Billy Griggs, and as Joe Walton says, they're all just clones of each other. They're all the same size. They're all 6'3", 230 pounds. Of course, Schuler is the starter, and that guy who's, you know, they're all kind of good blockers, possession receivers, and as Joe Walton said, the type of tight end that I like. Of course, they're like him.
1st and 10 at the 34. Wesley Walker, the move man this time. Inside handoff to Hector, and he's thrown for about a 5-yard loss by nose tackle Tony Elliott. By the way, the word we get from the Jets is that Lance Mell sprained his knee and will not return. Matt Munger is his normal replacement.
Now, Tony Elliott, he gets penetration here because he's not blocked. You see, Guy Bingham fired out. He fired out to the right 9 on Elliott, and Elliott went to the left side.
To Altoon, complete. Johnny Poe, the defender, and a gain of 6. It'll make a 3rd down situation. 3rd and about 8.
There's a guy who's been a big surprise, Altoon. You know, I mean, I think they thought he was going to be a good NFL receiver. They drafted him number 1. But as Joe Walton and the staff said, he's even more than we thought. He's the leading receiver in the NFL.
6'4", great leaping ability. Just a tremendous athlete.
Looks like a thoroughbred.
Kurt Sohn goes in motion, and O'Brien goes back to throw. Under pressure, and down he goes. Back to the 26-yard line. Ricky Jackson was the first man there, the 2nd sack by the Saints.
You know, an interesting thing about Ricky Jackson, when I came this morning early, he was out there talking with Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor, of course, the Giants met here earlier this morning, and they were talking about blitzing. And Lawrence Taylor said he was giving Jackson some pointers on how to blitz. Jackson has only had 2 sacks all year, and that's his 3rd. And he said, I'm going to get 4 or 5 today.
Dave Jennings, first punt of the day. And Eric Martin stands back deep for the New Orleans Saints. Jennings gets off a good kick. Hangs up there a long time. Martin. To about the 26. Hang time on that punt by Jennings was 4-5, a 45-yarder. And they net 47 because he lost 2 on the return.
Looking out for number 1. Looking out for number 1.
Toyota, looking out for you with the Toyota Standard Bed. It works as hard as you do. It takes on a big payload, but the price is easy to take.
Looking out for number 1.
Looking out for you has made Toyota number 1 in compact truck sales and number 1 in truck satisfaction. Who could ask for anything more?
Billy D. Williams talks about having a good time.
When it comes to having a good time, I've got it down to a science. First, you get yourself into the right clothes. Then you get Colt 45. And make sure you got enough for you and that someone special. And then you get yourself to a good time place. The rest is easy.
The power of Colt 45. It works every time.
Hello, hello, hello.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic Hamburger.
This is the good stuff.
The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomato,
This is the good stuff.
the fresh toppings, the beef.
This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
This is the good stuff.
There was was a 10-yard penalty on that play, and it was against this guy, Willie Tullis, right here for holding. Now watch, I don't know what they're seeing here, but there's no way that's holding. That's a legal block right there, and then that's okay right there. There's no holding. I'll tell you, I think they're getting too picky on these kickoff returns. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And they gave the Saints a 10-yard penalty for holding on that return.
And it seems that no matter where we are, what game we do, there are an increasing number of penalties on kick returns.
I would bet that 80% of the returns seem to have penalties on them. But, you know, I mean, if there is a clip, if there is something illegal, they ought to call it. But something like that is just getting too picky. Willie Tullis didn't do anything wrong.
First down and 10 from their own 16 for the Saints. The face of Joe Klecko. Pitches back to Reuben Mays, and he's down in the backfield by Bob Grable. A loss of 7.
You know, last week the Saints had a lot of success with that play, tossing right and left to the outside. But watch, you're going to try and come out here to the left. Grable penetrates. The Jets watched that tape. They saw that's their big play, where they just toss it to Mays right or left. The way to play it is to get your outside linebacker and get him across the line of scrimmage so that that runner doesn't get a soft corner.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Gastineau is in the game now to rush the passer. Mays and Buford Jordan are the two backs. And the handoff is to Dalton Hilliard. Beg your pardon. Hilliard gets about 8 over the left side.
You know, Mark Gastineau really isn't the same, but when he goes in, he's going to rush the passer. Now what they always do is try and run at him. Look, he's talking there. He's telling, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. Watch him, but they just go in, boom, and they just cut him down. Buford Jordan, the fullback, blocked him, and then they ran right inside him.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 9 situation. Hilliard will be the lone setback. Saints go with 3 wide receivers. Martin, the move man. Blitz coming. Incomplete. Intended for tight end John Tice. And we'll see Brian Hansen. Johnny Lynn was the defender. Wilson unable to complete a pass so far.
You know, that could be one thing that the Jets needed. I know that Joe Walton was worried about his team being flat, and I think he has a right to worry because I think the Jets are flat. I think that was the first sign. This defensive series there was the first sign of life. Now that could very well carry over to the offense.
This is a defense that hasn't given up a touchdown on the ground all year long, and we're almost halfway through. Hansen, good kick. Kurt Sohn, number 87, will handle for the Jets. Back at his own 35, fumble, and it goes out of bounds. So the Jets will take over. Brett Maxey was the Saint who was down there early. 48-yard punt. Next Sunday here on CBS, John Madden and I will be back here in the Meadowlands for that matchup. The Cowboys and the Giants as the NFC race continues to heat up.
I'll tell you, in the NFC, I think that's the toughest division that they have. And those are 2 teams that are going to be in the top. And that game can tell a lot the way the division's going to go. Of course, you have to add Washington to that mix.
And the Giants play the Redskins tomorrow night. Outside quickly to Wesley Walker. He steps out of bounds. It's a catch. Johnny Poe is the defender.
One thing about Wesley Walker, you know, he runs so fast that everyone is going to give him a cushion. You saw Johnny Poe there. He's looking in, and he's backing off, backing off, backing off. So Wesley Walker can catch a lot of those outs in front of him.
Reuben Mays over on the sideline, and his right ankle is being retaped. 2nd down and 3. This is Hector caught behind the line of scrimmage. The loss of a couple. Bruce Clark came from behind, came from the other side, and caught Johnny Hector.
You know, the thing, of course, that's that counter tray where they're going to pull the left guard and the left tackle. Now, what happens here is Bruce Clark just gets right in behind it and tackles him. Watch the guard and tackle pull. See him? Now watch Clark. He just gets right in. He grabbed the tackle, Gordon King first, and then the ball carrier. That's a good play.
Excellent. 3rd and 5. Jets set their own 41. Hurt zone is in motion. O'Brien back to throw. Chased out of the pocket. Finally gets rid of it. It's going to be out of bounds, and the Jets will have to punt again. JoJo Townsell was the intended receiver.
You know, it's an interesting, I was just saying, it's an interesting thing that neither one of these quarterbacks has been successful here early. And it had been raining. The field's wet, and you wonder if that's affecting their passing.
I'm sure it has to. It's not raining now. If it is, it's very light. But the field is still soaked. Jennings, the ex-Giant, now a Jet, will do the punting, number 13, and Eric Martin is down deep for the Saints. 6-0. They lead with 2:20 left in the first quarter. Slides in the direction of Martin. Through his legs. I don't know if he touched it or not. If Martin touched it, it's Jets ball, and it is. The Jets get it. They get their turnover. Michael Harper made the recovery.
Watch that. It looked like that last hit last night in the World Series game where Buckner was trying to field that ball. It went right between his legs. I don't know that it touched him.
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either. He put his hands down, he short-armed it, and I don't think it touched his leg. I don't know if they use instant replay on this one, but this is one that maybe they ought to take a look at. No, that didn't touch him. No, that doesn't touch him at all. In fact, they are talking right now.
Yes.
I think they're talking to the umpire.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's one they're going to have to reverse.
Here's Gene Barth.
After further review of instant replay, the call stands. First down.
I don't know what that guy reviewed. I don't think he reviewed the same thing we did. That's a big break for the Jets.
Tremendous break.
But I didn't see that hit anything.
First down, Jets at the Saints 17. Johnny Hector is the lone setback, and he gets the carry. And gets down to about the 11, it looks like. Jim Wilkes on the stop. 2 minutes left to play in the first quarter.
You know, an interesting thing, Pat, so far going into this game, 154 plays had been reviewed. Only 20 of those plays had been reversed. And 14 of the reversals had been either by Art McNally or someone from the league office. So we're going to see instant replay, but we're not seeing a lot of reversals. I think they missed one there.
2nd and 10, I agree with you. The line of scrimmage is incorrect on the scoreboard. They're down at about the 11-yard line instead of the 16. And O'Brien back to throw. Has time, a lot of time. Now it's flushed out of the pocket, goes into the end zone for Cleaver, incomplete, and no penalty markers. David Waymer back there with it.
Watch this one. Here's one where there's no one open. And we watch, if we just let it go here, we'll see the pattern, and we'll see if we freeze it right here when O'Brien is ready to throw. Not yet. You have to let him go back farther. Let him get back. Now he's ready to throw, see? And you see here is coverage. Here he has this type of coverage here. Coverage here, he has nothing to throw to, so he has to hold the ball. Pretty good pass protection, but good coverage by the Saints defense. See, there's nothing to throw to when he was ready.
3rd and 10. Jets send 3 wide receivers out to the right, including Johnny Hector. Now Hector comes back into the backfield, and now flags come everywhere. And the 30-second clock has run out.
Delay a game, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Still 3rd down, but a 5-yard walk-off. Now the ball goes back to the 16.
One of the things Joe Walton was saying yesterday, I said, how do you tell if you're flat? And he said one way is stupid penalties.
Right.
I don't know if that's a stupid one or not, but having 3rd down and letting time run out isn't the brightest thing you can do.
3rd and 15. Tony Page is back there blocking. O'Brien has touchdown. O'Brien had the time, and he finally found the tune.
Well, you know, it's a big advantage when you have a guy like Al Toon, who is an outside receiver. Watch him come in motion here. Now, he's going to go in the end zone, just get right in the middle of the end zone. You see, he'll work back this way and just kind of stand there. But when that guy is your outside receiver and he's 6'4", he's a big target for the quarterback.
He took a couple of jolts after he caught it. Leahy's extra point is good, and the Jets take the lead, 7-6.
I'll tell you one thing that O'Brien has had, and that's good pass protection. We talked about the job that Dan Radakovich has done with his offensive line. He's had a lot of injuries. See, he has the time. And then he could step up and look and see Al Toon in the middle of the end zone. That all started with a pass protection.
You know, John, Gordon King hasn't played really in 3 years. He used to be with the Giants, broke his arm. Jets picked him up, and he's done a good job.
I'll tell you, yeah, I thought he did a solid job last week against Denver. And then today he's starting out and he's playing against Bruce Clark, who is the best defensive player in the Saints team.
And he did an excellent job of containing Clark on that last touchdown pass.
And that was the thing that Joe Walton said. You know, we said, what do you have to do against their defense? The first thing he said is we have to contain or handle Bruce Clark and Ricky Jackson.
So with 1:15 left to play in the first quarter, the Jets take the lead, 7-6.
You know, I think that defensive series had a lot to do with it. I'm sure that Joe Walton is looking at some plays there and thinking of what they can do next time they get the ball. But that defense kind of brought the Jet team back to life and got them good field position. Then they get a turnover, of course, and they just take it in.
All the points, again, as a result of turnovers.
Yeah, but that's a controversial turnover.
It is.
They say that it touched him, but it was kind of a phantom touch.
Mel Gray and Eric Martin will be back deep for the Saints when Pat Leahy kicks off. And it's going to be Eric Martin at the 5. Out to the 20. And that's all. Right now, for an NFL update, let's send you to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat, we've got an upset brewing in Milwaukee. Green Bay has jumped on San Francisco. Here's Randy Wright, 4 yards to Mark Lewis. It's 14-0. The 49ers are being held to -10 total yards behind third-string quarterback Mike Morosky. Let's go back to Pat and John.
That's the situation at the Meadowlands, Brent. It's 7-6 with 1:07 left in the first quarter. Jets lead the Saints. Wilson back to throw. Hit just as he lets it go. Flag is downfield. In the direction of linebacker Matt Munger, who replaced Lance Mill.
And I think that's going to be on Monger, too. I think he got a little too close before the ball got there.
Holding, 58 defense, 5-yard penalty, and a first down.
That was against Hobie Brenner, and that is the Saints' first down.
It's going to be right here in the middle of the picture. You see Hobie Brenner right there against Matt Monger. I'll tell you, there's a lot of action there.
Yes, there is. Continuous.
And they called it against the Saints.
First down, Saints at their own 25. Dalton Hilliard is the lone running back. Back to throw. Wilson finds his tight end, John Tice. And Tice gets about 6. Munger again involved, a gain of 7.
You know, one thing the Saints have to lead the league in is having guys whose brothers play in the NFL. There's what John Tice, his brother Mike, is a tight end in Seattle. Then they got Stan Brock, the right tackle. His brother Pete plays for the Patriots. And then Joel Hilgenberg, the backup center, his brother Jay plays for the Bears. So they got 3 guys. You know, their parents never know what to do. Who do you watch on Sunday? Who do you root for if they play each other?
That's Buford Jordan. This is Dalton Hilliard. He gets just a couple, short of a first down. Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons on the bottom of the pile make the stop.
You know, that penalty was against the Jets. That was on Matt Monger.
Right.
And he was guarding Hobie Brenner.
So that's the end of one at the Meadowlands, with the Jets leading the New Orleans Saints by the score of 7-6, and they'll swap in.
Simon's mysterious past is revealed.
I owe it all to you.
As he embarks on the adventure of a lifetime.
Where are we going? A long way.
But will it be his last? The Wizard, Tuesday on CBS.
I've been an executive in the oil business for more than 20 years. I've always been hardworking, and I love honest competition. But you know, when I'm on the road, the thing that's uppermost in my mind is my family. I'm on the phone with my wife, Betty, and my kids all the time. I've got 6 of them, and they truly are the joy of my life. I love my family, and that's why I care about the kind of community they're going to live in. That's why I'm part of the United Way leadership team that's helping to solve people's problems in my community.
United Way services all kinds of people.
I think that's an extremely... I'm a pretty busy guy, but I always find the time to take in an NFL game on the weekend.
This is my favorite occupation.
I'm Gene Barth, an NFL referee. I've always been a professional on the field, and I try to be a professional in my community. Among my colleagues in the NFL, you'll find doctors, teachers, lawyers, but they're all part of the NFL family on game day.
And United Way is part of the NFL family, too.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota, builder of tough, powerful, reliable trucks, Toyota. And by GTE. GTE.
Ready to go with quarter number 2 at the Meadowlands. Pat Summerall with John Madden, with the Jets leading the New Orleans Saints 7-6. And all of the points have been as a result of turnovers. Time of possession, the Jets have had it almost all the time. 3rd and 1. The Saints made only 1 first down in that quarter. An unusual looking formation. And the handoff is to Dalton Hilliard. And he gets enough for the first down. That's their first earned first down. The other one as a result of a penalty. Lester Lyles made the stop.
You know, that was an interesting formation. What they did is they had John Tice, and they put him in a slot between the guard and the center. Watch him. They have three guys here. Then Tice is going to come up and line up right here in this slot. Usually when they line up in the slot, it's between the guard and the tackle. He was already there. Then number 82, he just led right on him.
And it's a first down to the Saints. In motion is Jones. Back to throw is Wilson. He has a man. That was Mike Jones who made the catch, and it was a tough catch, too. High, over the middle, hit by Jerry Holmes. And those high ones over the middle spell pain and broken ribs.
Those are the ones you go back and have a talk with a quarterback about. Of course, and he's saying, how can I see it? I'm getting rushed. I was throwing. I got to get rid of the ball. And he goes to the offensive lineman. Then the poor offensive lineman, they have no one to go to. They go to the center. Say it's snap count. He snapped it early.
2nd down and 4. Saints have it at their own 42. Buford Jordan was the move man. Hilliard up the middle. Got good yardage outside the 45, but there's a penalty marker down on the side. Lester Lyles on the stop for the Jets.
You see the interesting thing there, Steve Court, the center for the Saints, is holding the ball way out in front of him to get the nose tackle Joe Klecko off him.
It's like Klecko might be shaken up just a little bit.
Left end defense, offside. 5-yard penalty and a first down.
See if we can see what happened to Joe Klecko.
Looked like something in his left wrist. You see he's right there in the middle of the screen. Now, you know, Court has the ball off to get him off of him. Steve Court does a pretty good job of blocking him. And it looks like Klecko could have gotten it when he reached out there or when he fell on it. Probably be when he fell on it because he reached with his right hand. He's okay, though. He's going to be back.
Just stung a little bit. It looks like Mel Gray is in the game for New Orleans and split wide on first down. Going deep for Gray. Pass is picked off by Lester Lyles. And Lester up the sideline is pushed out of bounds, and the Jets have it at their own 37. Dave Wilson, a little upset, and rightly so.
Well, you know, they were talking last night, Jim Mora, about being patient, and I think he just stayed patient so long. And here he tried to get one deep. He tried to get out there and get Mel Gray, his speed guy, out on their strong safety, Lester Lyle. And Gray really didn't win that battle because Lyles knew Gray could run, and he wasn't going to let him get behind him.
So the Jets take over at their own 38. This is Freeman McNeil with some room. McNeil, Jet first down in New Orleans territory. A gain of 13 by Freeman. Antonio Gibson made the stop.
You know, one thing about having Johnny Hector and Freeman McNeil, you can always keep the fresh guy in there. You know, and that running back doesn't get worn down. He doesn't get beaten up. You know, and you can have him in there. Of course, they have Page in there. He's the fullback, Tony Page, and he's like having another guard in the backfield. And then they can put Hector, alternate Hector and McNeil, always keeping a guy fresh.
Right now it's McNeil and Page. And Wilson is rushed. Gets the ball out to Freeman McNeil. He gets about 5. For another NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat and John, the Niners are coming back. Mike Morosky, 7 yards to Jerry Rice. 9 touchdowns this year for Rice. Way ahead of receivers in the NFC in that category. Let's go back to Pat and John.
The Jets are on the move here. 7-6 the score. 2nd and 5. 11:47 left in the second quarter. O'Brien gives again to McNeil. He's hit after a gain of about 1 and upended.
You know, we just saw Jerry Rice score that touchdown for the 49ers, and he reminds me a lot of Al Toon.
They do look
they're
a lot
both
alike.
big guys who can run, but can also catch those other passes, you know, who are in their second year, and they both become kind of leaders of their team. I mean, Rice is, you know, scoring touchdowns, getting big plays. Toon, of course, is the leading receiver in the National Football League. And again, both of them only in their second year.
And they do look a lot alike. Big, tall, strong, and fast. What else do you need?
Able to catch it.
Yep. On 3rd down, O'Brien will scramble for the first. And does. Slides inside the 40.
I think that has to show that Ken O'Brien's knee is okay. You know, he missed 2 starts with that knee, but he's not even wearing a brace or tape or anything on it. I think if you have a bad knee, I don't think your instincts let you do this. I think if you have a bad knee and you really feel it, I think your instincts tell you throw the ball away, not run up the middle with it.
It's been a tough year on quarterbacks. They've missed 30 starts. 11 quarterbacks have missed games. Hebert and O'Brien, 2 in this game.
You know, last week, 7 of the starters were knocked out of the game.
New Orleans. First time out, New Orleans.
Timeout for the New Orleans Saints. That's their first one. They have 2 left. 10:33 left to play in the first half. Jets by 1 over the Saints.
Well, the third quarter earnings report is going to be released tomorrow. Uh-huh. Yeah,
There's a remarkable telephone system called Omni that can actually grow as your company grows, mostly without changing it, but by simply reprogramming it. So you can have the latest telecommunications capabilities, both voice and data, no matter how big you get.
Gee.
No, GTE.
When we want to work up a sweat, nothing works like this full-size Chevy pickup. It's got the muscle of a fuel-injected 350 V8. And it's available on every full-size Chevy. It's got the strength of girder beam front suspension. Where? Oh! There. Plus, double-wall construction. So, when you need a tough-working partner, nothing works like a Chevy truck. Nothing. Yeah? Yeah. Right?
Nationwide's homeowners insurance can protect against the unexpected. But what if something happens to you? Your family could lose their home entirely. For total home protection, you need both Nationwide's homeowners insurance and Nationwide's mortgage life insurance for coverage against the unexpected. Another way Nationwide helps provide blanket protection for your family and your home.
Nationwide is on your side.
On November 5th, Hammer's moving over with the big boys at 8, 7 Central and Mountain. Hammer, Magnum, The Equalizer. They've got you covered Wednesdays on CBS.
7-6 with 10:33 left to play in the first half at the Meadowlands. Raining steadily. Bruce Clark, number 75, the Saints' best defensive lineman, in the opinion of most. O'Brien fakes, underthrows Wesley Walker. Dave Waymer, the defender, out there with him. Hard to hold on to the ball.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's the job of the officials to keep the ball dry, but when you put it down, you see the umpire there, he'll wipe it off, but then when he puts it down on the ground is when it gets wet, you know, and you can't keep it in your hand all the time.
That artificial turf is soaked. Doesn't show as much as it really is. 2nd and 10 from the Saint 39. O'Brien back to throw again, if he has time. But he does have time. He has Walker, and Walker is down at the 1. Antonio Gibson was the Saint defender, a gain of 37, and they mark it at the 2. It'll be 1st and goal from there.
I think the most important thing in offensive football today in the NFL is speed. You have to have at least one speed guy on your team, a guy that can do this. Wesley Walker is the speed guy at the Jets, a guy that if you leave your safety out of there, or if you crowd the thing a little, can get deep and beat you with a big one.
1st and goal from the 2 for the New York Jets. Cleaver is in motion. Page and McNeil, the ball carriers, and Page just hammers down to about the 1, a gain of 1. Sam Mills will be on the bottom of the pile.
See, now here's the thing. When you're going to come into the post, what does this guy do? See, now he gets caught up short and he lets Walker get in behind him. Now watch this. This is the always thing, is what's the safety do? You see, now he holds up there. See, now right there, he should have been the deep guy. But Walker just has too much speed.
That mass of bodies did not get into the end zone. Tony Page again was the ball carrier. That'll bring up a 3rd down. They're about a foot short.
This is where they have the Jets have this formation. It's called tough guys. They get all their tight ends, their big guys in there. They handed that time to Tony Page. Of course, he's like having a guard in the backfield. And then when you get on the goal line, you hope he's like having a refrigerator in the kitchen.
They're inside the 1. McNeil and Page again behind O'Brien. It's McNeil. And he hammers in. 1-yard touchdown blast by Freeman McNeil.
That's not a bad idea. You don't see that play much in the goal line, but I think the idea was there, if we can't get anything inside, if they're all packed in inside, let's pitch it and toss it and go outside. Watch them. See them all packed in. Boom, they all go down. Pull Gordon King out. That gets the corner out, and just toss the ball to McNeil and let him get outside.
Leahy for the extra point with Ryan holding. Leahy is good. And the Jets now lead at 14-6. Impressive-looking effort and drive there by the Jets, and they lead 14-6 with 8:41 left to play in the first half.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America.
When you've got what it takes,
Put yourself in today's Chevrolet Celebrity Eurosport and listen to your heartbeat.
Hi, can I have a light?
This Halloween, don't just ask for a light beer. Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light!
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Thank you!
Look for this Fright Night display where you buy Bud Light and win a monster of a trip to one of your favorite haunts.
Next year, a costume party. Oh!
Dear McDonald's, did you have a McDLT in the room when you named it? I doubt it, because if you had, you would have noticed your delicious burger is more than lettuce and tomato. This baby's got the works. Next time, look before you leap. Your friend, Bert Iwinski.
Okay, Bert Iwinski, just for you. Call it the hot side hot, cool side cool. Every delicious thing you could want on a hamburger. Or just call it McDLT, the one with the works.
The Cowboys with a back attack that inspires. The Giants with a defense that dazzles and revenge on their mind. A classic in the making next Sunday on CBS Sports.
(14-6). Pat Summerall with John Madden. Jets leading the Saints with 8:41 left to play in the first half. Johnny Hector headed for the locker room. And the two people with him both had x-rays in their hand. I don't know if that's Hector or maybe Lance Mel. Leahy's kickoff goes out of the end zone. Mel Gray was the Saint back there, number 37. They'll bring it out to the 20 and start from there. Johnny Hector, we're told, has a sprained thumb. The scoring drive, 9 plays, 62 yards, and the Jets kept it 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Raiders going for 5 in a row now. Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati. 1st and 10 Saints at their own 20. Dave Wilson, the quarterback. Dalton Hilliard is the deep back. Buford Jordan in front of him. Wilson back to throw. Outside Dalton Hilliard. And Hilliard turned head over heels. The ball is loose. The Jets have it. Or had it. And now is knocked loose again. Not sure who had possession last. A gain of 4.
Yeah, I think it was Charles Jackson. I think he was the guy who made the hit, picked up the ball, and fumbled the ball. He's the guy arguing. It had to be. Number 55. Yeah. The guy that argues the most has to be the guy affected. Watch 55. Charles Jackson come up. He makes the hit. And then the ball is fumbled when he hits the ground, so it's an illegal fumble, and Jackson picked it up.
No gain. Reuben Mays back in the game. Stop for no gain. Flecko to stop.
What an illegal fumble is probably not the word, but the ground can't cause a fumble. If he has control of the ball when he hits the ground, then the whistle blows and it's over. But Jackson thought he had a triple dipper there. Yeah. You know, the play, slide, hit, knock ball out, recover ball, Jets ball. He had half of the deal.
3rd and 6. Buford Jordan is the lone setback. Wilson looking at a 4-man front now from the Jets in a heavy pass rush, I'm sure. They do come on a blitz. Pass is caught by Mike Jones. It will be enough for a first down. We're at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Pat Summerall, John Madden. The matches between the New Orleans Saints and the New York Jets at Giant Stadium. We have 7 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the first half. The Jets lead it 14-6. Saints got the first down. They move it out to their own 30-yard line. Pitch is back to Buford Jordan, and Buford Jordan whirls and spins, and for all that effort, maybe got a yard. Lester Lyles was the leading tackler.
I'll tell you, Joe Klecko played that the way a nose tackle's supposed to play it. You know, the nose tackle's supposed to hold anything that comes at him and then be able to run up and down the line and make tackles. And that's what Klecko did on that last one. Watch him over there in the center. See his cockeyed, see him make the hit. Now watch him run right down the line and cut off Buford Jordan at the pass. That's what you use. You know, where like you hit and control and cut him off at the pass.
That's the ideal situation. 2nd and 9. Wilson incomplete. Intended for Hobie Brenner, who, by the way, is playing with a cast on his arm, or on his hand, rather. Pretty tough to catch it.
Well, especially if the ball gets into it. You know, with the cast, it has to go around the hand. He has a pin. They had to operate on it. Stick a pin in the hand, then he has to wear the cast. You see where the problem is where underneath on the inside part of the hand, that's where the cast goes. So you can't catch the ball in that. It'll just, boom, just bounce off, like ping.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 9 situation. Buford Jordan behind the quarterback Wilson. Chased out of the pocket. Pass is deflected and intercepted. Lester Lyles comes up with his 2nd of the day.
I'll tell you, that's the guy that these Jet coaches think is going to be their best defensive back. And I tell you, he is active today. You know, he's a big guy, a strong guy, a good hitter. And I'll tell you, he has pretty good reactions there. He was just playing a zone defense, and the ball just got tipped up in the air, and there he was and came up with the interception.
Marty Lyons was the man who knocked it up in the air.
And you wonder what Marty Lyons was doing back there.
Freeman McNeil and Tony Page are the 2 backs. O'Brien going right to work. Chased out of the pocket by Jackson. Gets rid of it at Schuler. Schuler out of bounds by Pat Swilling after a pickup of about 6.
Tell you, that rain's coming down out there, isn't it?
Really started to rain hard again.
Yeah, it puts a little shine on those helmets. This is a way, you know, offensive linemen love this. I was talking to some of the Saint offensive linemen before the game, and they said this is great. You can roll around in it and cool off a little.
But you don't get dirty.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with it, but at least it keeps you cool. Big guys don't like to get hot.
Flags down everywhere as Gordon King jumped before the count. And they'll walk off 5 against the Jets.
Ball start, 72 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Yeah, it was a false one, but it was a good one. I mean, that one carried him. It carried him way out. Look at him right there. See, he starts off, and he got a good first step. And I'll tell you, Bingham does a good job. He's firing out. I mean, he says, well, if we're going to go, let's go. He went down about 10 yards. He kept going.
All the way. 2nd and 9. Draw play to McNeil. And he was hit by Gethers immediately after he got the ball. In fact, he did well to hang on. Loss of 5.
Big jumpy Gethers. He's the leading sacker on this Saint defense. And the reason, it's not because he's a pass rush move guy. He's just a big guy. And he just gets a big push in the middle. See, he's 290 pounds. You saw Ted Banker trying to block him. He just took Banker and put him right in the backfield and caught the draw before it got started.
3rd down and 14. Going for the bundle to Toon again. Incomplete and no flags down. Waymer and Watlett back with Al Toon. This might be close enough for Leahy, who's trying to tie a record.
I tell you, they have Waymer's there. He's there on the outside. They have Watlett on the inside. They have about everything you want, double covered inside and out. Al Toon can draw a crowd.
Well, they've decided it's too far for Leahy, so it's Dave Jennings. Eric Martin back deep for the Saints. Jennings standing at his own 45. Tried to get it straight up and did a pretty good job of it. Flag is down already. Handled at the 10 by Martin, but flags down everywhere. Only a 29-yard kick by Jennings, but downed at the 10. That's what you're looking for.
Well, at least it's not going to be one of those illegal blocks behind, because the flag came out too early for that.
Had to be somebody downfield it wasn't supposed to be.
Illegal use of the hand.
No.
While the ball was in the air, that's a post-possession foul. We'll go half the distance to the goal line, and it'll be first down.
Against the Saints. And they'll move it back to about the 5, where New Orleans will operate from there.
I'll tell you, that was a quick one. I mean, if it happened pretty early on that play.
We have 4:14 left to play in the first half. Jets up 14-6.
The Winning Edge, brought to you by Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. The winning edge can be a matter of who gets there first. Speed may be the most important element in the game. Mel Gray made a habit of being there first. His ability to fly led to 45 career touchdowns. He used blinding speed to elude the best defensive backs in the game and to catch passes in 121 consecutive games. Mel Gray's speed gave the Cardinals the winning edge.
What would you like?
Well, I don't know. What do I feel like?
Why not try something you've never had before?
Is that a line?
No, it's a drink. Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. It's wet, it's dry, it's smooth, and it's Seagram's.
You sound like a commercial.
You buying it?
The drink? Yeah, but not the line.
It's a start.
Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. It's wet and it's dry.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
Meet our family's newest member.
Our new high-performance Tandy 1000 EX. PC compatible and now at an incredible $7.99, including a Christmas bonus color monitor. We saved $300.
And it came with desk-made software like word processing, budgeting, filing, and more.
Of course, all work and no play.
Makes a dull computer.
Right.
The Tandy 1000 EX computer, just $7.99, only at Radio Shack.
Next Saturday, CBS Sports presents 2 great back-to-back games. That's the first one. The Florida State Seminoles, who in their last 3 games have scored 54, 59, and 54 points. And they will challenge the #1 ranked Miami Hurricanes, live at 12 Eastern Time in the Orange Bowl. And the Seminoles got off to a slow start, but they are rolling now. And then a rematch of last year's Western Final, in which the Rockets defeated the Lakers in 5 games. That remarkable shot by Ralph Sampson. In Bay action. Big Saturday on CBS next week. There's that cockeyed formation again. And Dalton Hilliard was the ball carrier. Perhaps got 2 over the left-hand side of that formation. Barry Bennett on the bottom of the pile.
You know that penalty on the punt return? Here it is right here. Here's Dave Waymer. You see, and he's going to get the holding penalty right there in front. See him hold right there? That's what they call.
Buford Jordan, the ball carrier, as we come back. Saints trying to get out of that deep hole, a pickup of 2. That'll make it 3rd and 6 from the 7. Kyle Clifton. Make it the 9 instead of the 7.
You know, one thing about the Saints, they haven't played very well offensively. They haven't gotten anything going, but I think this is part of the patience. They know that so far this year, the Jets have not scored a point in the 3rd quarter. And if they can get them close, go into the 3rd quarter, they may pick up something there.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. Wilson back in the end zone. Gets away from one rusher. Has the pass picked off by Harry Hamilton. Flag is down. Hamilton is down inside the 10. Penalty marker down. A return of 17, but again, there is a penalty.
I tell you, Dave Wilson is having that terrible type of day that...
Illegal contact, 50 white, 5-yard penalty, and a first down.
Well, they dodged a bullet there, but he was trying to force him. If you just watch Wilson here, he looked like he kind of slipped when he came out. You see right there, in fact, he did. He stubbed his right toe, so it got started off poorly. Then he had to scramble, move out a little, Then he had to move in there and throw the ball that was intercepted, and now he tries to look for a little contact. Maybe just to hide, just something to get you on the ground and out of the way. You can't dig a hole, but that's as close as you can get.
Get under somebody.
Yeah. This is the type of day where, I think he has as many interceptions as he has completions.
1st and 10, they move the ball out to the 14 after the penalty. Back to Dalton Hilliard. Hilliard outside the 20. Hit down by Lester Lyles.
The thing with Joe Klecko, watch number 73 in here. He goes from side to side. He starts here, then he jumps off to the other side. What he's trying to do is make the center nervous. Make the center maybe snap the ball late or early or do something. But I'll tell you, Steve Court is doing a good job.
One of their better offensive players, according to the same people.
See how he has the ball out there in front? That's to keep Klecko away. Get him away from him.
Dalton Hilliard, the ball carrier. And Hilliard hammers over the left side. He's close to a first down. Stopped by Gastineau. Penalty flags are down. Lyles on the stop. He is a big guy, 6'3", 218. And as John Madden said before, the Jet people believe that he's going to be one of their best players in time.
He has that whole thing. You say he has the size and he has the awareness. And one thing that a safety has to be in today's football is he has to be able to cover, but also be a good hitter.
Excuse me. We have multiple fouls against number 27 defense. Illegal use of the hands. That penalty is declined. Unnecessary roughness. Personal foul. The 15-yard penalty will be in force and a first down.
Well, let's see if we can figure out what happened there.
Well, that's Russell Carter, number 27. We'll see him right there on the right side of the picture. You see him right there. He starts there, and then he goes out. Then he hits a right. Then he has one more. Look, he has that right cock back there. He's ready to go. Whoom!
He had it loaded.
Yeah, he had it loaded. It was way back behind his back. He was going to throw it like you hit a driver.
That'll be the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to play in the first half. Jets leading 14-6.
Lafitte, Louisiana and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Lafitte means flat-bottom boat racing and a Cajun feast that'll set your mouth on fire. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp, Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, an Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Here he comes now. See anything suspicious? I don't know. Keep staring at his cigar like there's something different about it. I'll bet it's the wrapper. Huh? Yeah, most cigars don't use natural leaf wrappers anymore. Now, gosh, your Vegas still gives you the rich tobacco taste of natural leaf wrappers. He's still staring at it. Hey, Jimmy. Go on over and give him an honest cigar.
Gosh, Vega, still an honest cigar.
He's doing it again.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh yeah.
It's the rhythm on the road. It's the pulse on the street. City and town, magic sound.
Feel the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
That's today, Chevrolet.
Here's Russell Carter right here, and we'll see he gets an elbow, and then he gets 2 right uppercuts. Watch that. Well, there's the elbow to the face. Now watch. Now he's going to load up. There's a right uppercut, and now he's going to get back off a little. Back off a little, push off. Now he got 2 more. 1, boom. Then he's going to come back 1 more. Boom, and he missed that last one. He was just getting warmed up. I'll tell you, Burl Toller was right there. The official saw the whole thing, and he threw the flag before the second right uppercut.
1st and 10, the Saints. With 2 minutes to go, they have 2 timeouts left. Mike Jones in motion. Here comes the twist. Wilson gets it out to Jones. Pass complete out to about the 44-yard line. A gain of 6. Lester Lyles on the tackle.
Tell you, this is something for Dave Wilson to get this ball. Watch from the right of the screen. The top of the screen, the man comes straight. No one blocked him. And he still got rid of that. That was Charles Jackson. No one blocked him. Wilson got rid of it completely.
Handoff is to Hilliard. He gets about 3 short of the first down. Kyle Clifton made the stop for the Jets.
You know, Reuben Mays, of course, is the leading running back in the NFL average-wise, and we did see a shot of them taping his ankle on the sideline, and of course we've been seeing Hilliard.
He has a sprained foot, Mays does, and they're not sure whether or not he'll be able to return. Hilliard then is the setback. 3rd and short. They get it to Hilliard. There's a flag down in the secondary. Hilliard got enough for the first down. Flag down back where Wilson was, rather. Kyle Clifton on the blitz.
Holding, number 60 offense.
Holding called against Steve Court, the offensive center.
That's the type of thing that Joe Klecko gets a lot of.
10-yard penalty. We'll replay the 3rd down.
Yeah, we'll see him over there. There's Klecko there over Court. You see Court starts, he has help from his right guard. Then he starts, he's just riding him to the outside. And I think they thought he tackled him. Now, that didn't look bad to me. I don't know. I think they're getting a little picky out there today. I mean, you got to give those guys a chance. You have to let them at least fall down.
Well, it's raining.
Yeah, but you got to let them fall down and roll around on the wet turf a little. Every time they fall down, they throw a flag. I think they thought they saw something they didn't see on that one.
3rd and 12 from the St. 38. Intended for Kelvin Edwards. He was well covered. Harry Hamilton on the defense.
Dave Wilson's having a tough day. In fact, it's so tough he's having trouble getting a spiral. Watch this one here. He gets a little wobble right into double coverage. Watch that ball, how it wobbles. It goes back and forth. In fact, that was close to being triple coverage. That's what you call an example of throwing into coverage.
That had very little chance of being complete. Kurt Sohn back deep for the Jets, and Brian Hansen will kick for the Saints.
Yeah, it's hard. You throw a duck, and then you throw a duck into coverage. That usually doesn't work.
Nu'u Feola, special team specialist for the Jets, number 30.
When you have that much hair hanging out of your helmet down over your shoulder pads, you have to be good on special teams. That's a rule in the NFL.
If it's not, it should be.
Long hair or ponytails have to be good teams.
Jets put the big rush. Good kick. Sohn lets it bounce. And it rolls dead at about the 13-yard line where it's down. And the Jets will take over deep in their own territory. Brett Maxey down at a 49-yard punt by Hansen that did not spiral but still took off. Coming up at halftime, Brent, Irv, and Hank Stram in the studio today with scores and highlights from around the league. Also from Soda Springs, Idaho. To the top of the NFC West is a journey of many miles. And Butler will tell you about that. And that's all coming up at the half. O'Brien with 39 seconds left. Scrambles out of the pocket. Dumps it off to Schuler, who laterals to Page. Page goes out of bounds at about the 37. I don't think that was planned.
That was one of the darndest plays you're ever going to see. There's Mark Gastineau going out. You know, he has trouble with that stomach pull. But watch him. It starts to be a scramble. O'Brien, then he feels it cave in. He throws a short pass to Schuler, who laterals out to Page. That's something that, even if you tried, you wouldn't draw up as a coach.
Right. You just shut your eyes and hope.
But the players love that type of stuff. They'll talk more about that play than anything else.
They think they've really done something now. Sohn is the man in motion. O'Brien back in the pocket. And pass is complete to Toon. Toon still on his feet. Toon still on his feet. Al Toon is going to score.
great players. One, it shows that he's tough, that he'll go to the inside, and he'll catch the ball in the middle. Two, it'll show that he's strong and can break a tackle. And three, it shows that he has speed and can outrun everyone. That's one play, an example of everything you have to have.
That's one heck of an effort by Al Toon. The crowd might sound like it's booing, but it's saying Toon. Toon. He's caught 3 for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I can see why Joe Walton said he is more than we expected.
You know, just watching him in practice yesterday, he's one of those guys that is like a thoroughbred. He just runs all the time. I mean, he runs down, runs back, runs sideways, always on the go.
Great stamina. Jets more comfortable now.
What was that?
The boogeyman from the Black Lagoon.
There's something out there.
Don't worry, as long as the lights are on, we're fine.
What do we do now?
Run for your life!
It's time to change your light bulb. Philips Longer Life Square bulbs last 33% longer than ordinary round bulbs.
If you can call that a drive, 2 plays, 86 yards. It took them just 22 seconds. Finished off by the pass from O'Brien to Toon, and Toon did a lot of good work. Jim Mora certainly not enjoying what he's looking at the moment.
Well, I think Jim Mora knew that his team is not the same type of team of the Jets. They're not on that level, but he was hoping that they could catch a sleeping dog. I think maybe they did in the first quarter, but not this second quarter.
Eric Martin, the return man, he might have a little room. Martin chased out of bounds by Michael Harper.
I'll tell you, Jim Mora, this was his reaction on the bench when the defense came off the field. And I think what he's talking about there is the fact that, you know, that they didn't tackle. I mean, they had guys in there, and they let Toon, 1, catch the ball, and then 2, run right through him.
Saints take over at their own 37. By the way, if you're wondering about the World Series, they'll wait until game time tonight to see if they can play at Shea Stadium. And if it continues to rain, certainly they can't. If not, if they can't play tonight, they'll play tomorrow night. But they'll wait until game time tonight to make that decision. And off to Hilliard. And Dalvin Hilliard outside the 45, the rookie running back from LSU. Matt Munger on the stop. Saints take a timeout with 8 seconds left to play. They have 1 left. That's 8 seconds left in the first half.
I'll tell you, this Jet team could very well be the team in the AFC. I know, you know, a few weeks ago when we saw the Denver Broncos, I thought that maybe they were the best team in the AFC. And then I watched these Jets beat the Broncos, and the way they play, I don't know. They could be the AFC team.
Well, the Raiders are starting to roll a little bit now, shooting for 5 in a row. Denver's still good.
Well, Denver is. I don't think you can take one bad game and say that they aren't, but I think that the Jets prove that if the Broncos are good, at least the Jets are on that same level with them.
Best records in '86 going into today. No undefeated teams left now. The Jets, Chicago, Denver, and Washington, all 6-1.
I still think of all the teams that we've seen this year, I think that second team, the Bears, are still the best in the NFL.
Second down and 2 at the 46. Tice makes the move. Wilson back to throw. Gets it to Tice. Almost intercepted again. As it went through his hands, Harry Hamilton was the nearest defender. 3 seconds left to play in the first half now. Jets leading 21-6.
This is a tough thing when the teams get into prevent defense. Look, they have 3 guys here rush, then they're going to have 4 guys here, and then 4 guys back here. And there's really no place to throw. I mean, they just get back and they just take all the areas away, hope you throw into it so they can get the interception. But it's a real loose type thing. In fact, the Jets have a word for this. This is their Celtic defense.
They name their defense after winners. 3 seconds to go. The draw play to Dalton Hilliard. Flag is down. Penalty marker down. Way back at the line of scrimmage. Hilliard finally knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Johnny Lynn.
And the half can end on an offensive penalty. It can't end on a defensive penalty.
Number 60 offense. Penalty refused. The half is over.
21-6 on a rainy day at the Meadowlands. The Jets lead it. That's the situation, and that's the end of the first half with the score. The Jets 21, the New Orleans Saints 6.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet, and by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Alpha team, aggressor tank spotted.
In a battle drill, you need horsepower, firepower, people power. That's teamwork.
Moving tank, track front, 2,000.
This team uses a computer, thermal sight, laser rangefinder.
Fire!
Yeah.
All that you can.
We win, the whole tank wins. The whole team wins. Not just one person.
Find your future in the Army.
I like to go first class, so I appreciate Oldsmobile quality. That's the sporty Delta 88 Coupe. But with the foursome of my own, the Zeller car
Come on, kids.
is a Delta 88 sedan. Sporty enough for me.
But roomy enough for all of us.
Olds calls Delta 88 the family car that didn't forget the family.
And Fuzzy's family agrees.
Oldsmobile quality. Feel it.
Tonight, a bizarre murder, an intriguing set of clues, and
The butler.
the classic suspect.
Are you telling me the butler did it?
Murder, she wrote. And she was his dream woman, and she was his perfect wife. Then a tragic accident, a daring second chance for life.
They can place this woman's brain into your wife's body.
But only one woman will survive.
What will she look like?
2 husbands and one incredible choice. Who is Julia tonight?
Well, welcome back to our studios. I'm Brent Musburger along with Irv Cross and Hank Stram. Here in New York, of course, it has been raining today, and fans want to know what's the status of the 7th game of the World Series tonight in Shea Stadium. Well, the forecast is for more rain throughout the evening, a light drizzle, but the baseball commissioner, Peter Ueberroth, says that if the game is postponed tonight because of rain, they will play it tomorrow night. Now, that means the television fans here in the New York area would have a choice of the Giants against the Redskins, or Bob Newhart, or the 7th game of the World Series. And right now, Hank and Irv, let's get everybody up to date with what's going on around the National Football League. The Jets are very impressive. Best start in their history, 21-6 in the rain and a few empty seats over there in the Meadowlands. I'll tell you, the fans are being stretched every which way here in New York, Irv. They don't know what to do. And Ken O'Brien didn't know what to do in that sequence either. That turnover set up a field goal for the Saints. Then they lost Lance Mel, and everything was going against them. And then John Madden pointed out this ball was not touched by the receiver, but the official didn't notice it, and it went as a turnover anyway. Jets recovered, and they went on the move as a result. Hank Stram, what's your opinion of Kenny O'Brien as a quarterback?
Oh, I think he's one of the bright quarterbacks in the National Football League, and I think if he stays healthy, with the outstanding people he has on the outside, like Toon and Walker, who I think were put together in an airplane factory someplace where they fly, but they're terrific.
There's the Jet Al Toon, Irv.
He can not only fly, but he can dance as well. He's a ballet dancer, and he demonstrates his balance right there.
Last receiver in the NFL to take ballet lessons was?
In Pittsburgh?
That's right. Swan did it, I'll tell you. 88? He sure did. He was a good one, too. All right. Now, elsewhere around the league, and, of course, the team giving chase to the Jets, the Patriots are shutting out the Bills 17-0 in the second quarter. Miami and Indianapolis, Andy Marino has thrown 1 touchdown pass, 7 yards to Duper in that game. San Francisco and Green Bay, this could be our upset special. 14-7. Forrest Gregg was unhappy with this sequence here. Hey, I'll tell you, Mark Lewis makes a great catch for the Packers.
Tremendous concentration here. Randy Wright going out to the ball's batted, and he just keeps his eye on it and comes down with the score.
Hank, what's your impression of Jerry Rice, the wide receiver for the 49ers?
Well, you know, he runs the deep patterns. There's scorch marks all over the field when he gets through. He's got that great speed, and he's so tough to cover. And then in this game we just saw, nobody covered him at all.
Right.
I don't think.
That's one way to try.
He looked like he ran out of the bleachers.
I hope he drops the ball. 14-7, Packers with the lead. The Raiders are doing well down in Houston without Marcus Allen. They don't like to play Marcus on that tender ankle when he's on a carpet. He much prefers grass. 21-7, 2 touchdown passes from Wilson to his tight end Todd Christensen in that game. Pittsburgh is all over Cincinnati, 17-3 there at the half of that game. Tampa Bay leading Kansas City. It is 13-10. They've gone to the third quarter. Philadelphia, field goals by McFadden, 2 of them. They lead San Diego. Mark Herman is quarterbacking the Chargers in that game. Dan Fouts still out because of an injury. Cleveland and Minnesota, the Vikes appear to be for real. And yes, Tommy Kramer got it into the hands of Anthony Carter again for another touchdown in that game. And Detroit and Chicago, the Angry Bears trying to jump back in that win column after being upset by the Vikings last week. Did get tough on this team in practice. And Hank, what about Wilbur Marshall, their linebacker?
Well, he's completely healthy, and I think he responded to all the talk that took place in Chicago this week. He makes that tackle and comes up with the fumble recovery and goes in and changes the scoreboard, gets 6.
Irv, how about Walter Payton in the first half?
Something you rarely see. Walter Payton carrying the ball in the first half 7 times for 7 yards. Here he's thrown for a 3-yard loss.
Hank, you covered the Bears last week. McMahon a little rusty today?
I think he is. I don't think he can play in a game unless you practice more than he has. He hasn't practiced for a couple of weeks, and you just can't expect a quarterback to be as sharp as he should be without practice.
Yeah, you know, Hank, he went out because of an ankle injury, and Fuller came in the game. Now they're getting ready to start the second half in Chicago. We get late word that Jim McMahon is warming up on the sideline and probably will return. The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
When you look for champions, you look to the NBA on CBS Sports. All the power, all the passion, all the pizzazz, illuminated by the insights of Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. CBS Sports takes you center court where you don't miss a beat. And next Saturday, it all starts with a heated rematch as Kareem and the Lakers go out for revenge against the team that stunned them into playoff submission, the towering Rockets of Houston. The NBA is back next Saturday on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
When you come to Meineke Discount Mufflers, relax.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
You're not going to pay a lot for your muffler.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
Meineke's the nation's discount muffler leader. We'll fix your car the right way at the right price from $18.93 installed.
Oh, I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
You're not going to pay a lot at Meineke.
Play ball! Timeout! What was that?
That's the daily numbers.
Not my fault. It's play 4.
Play the daily numbers. Match 3 digits and win more often. Or play 4. Match 4 and win more. You're bound to hit a home run. The daily numbers and play 4. 2 great daily games from the Connecticut State Lottery. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
There is a higher intelligence coming to share a wealth of knowledge and powers. Follow your instincts and welcome them. They are known as Minolta Zoom copiers. They transform complex functions into child's play and have remarkable endurance. Bring higher intelligence to your office with Minolta Zoom copiers, only from the mind of Minolta.
The World Series in football at 6.
Welcome back to New York. Atlanta, you know, off to its best start ever, is riding the Falcon crest on the arm of its quarterback, a young David who has been slaying the Goliaths of the NFL. And as Ann Butler now tells us, this is not only good news in Georgia, but also in a mining town out west in Idaho.
David Archer never felt being an NFL quarterback was his manifest destiny, because where he grew up, that was a far-fetched dream.
I think if I sat down back when I was in 6th grade, 5th grade, something like that, and said, okay, you know, 10 years from now, you're going to be starting in the NFL. No. But as things unfolded, I had a feeling that I could play, and that's why I stuck with it and kept working out in Little Soda Springs.
Little indeed. Soda Springs is located in western Idaho. nestled 1 mile up in the mountains. The town's name comes from its natural effervescent springs and the man-made geyser that goes off every hour on the hour. But there's more than just scenery here. The giant phosphate mines are the dominant employers in town. The minerals are gathered up and they're sent off to be processed in the nearby mills. Growing up, David Archer got some first-hand experience as a miner. For 3 summers, he worked here at the Henry Phosphate Mining Project just outside Soda Springs as a laborer, starting every day at 5 a.m., shoveling dirt and rock, keeping the big ore conveyors clear, but all the while thinking pass patterns and defensive coverages.
Oh, no, we'd never talk about mining too much. It was mostly football. That's what he wanted to do.
But it took more than just self-confidence. Dave had some very special support.
Dad was probably the largest influence I've had. He was a guy that never pushed me into doing anything. He said, do what you want to do, and I'll help you.
I realized at an early stage of his life that he, if he continued to strive in what he was seeking, he would be able to make it all the way.
After starring at Soda Springs High, he went on to Snow College in Utah, where he led the Badgers to victory in the Wool Bowl. Because of his humble football background, not many people had faith in him. And that's why some say he carries a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
I just developed into this attitude that every time somebody told me I couldn't do anything, I was going to show them that I could do it. And I guess that if that's the chip, then that's where it is.
Doubts about Archer persist. His play recently has been inconsistent. But back home, that doesn't stop them from loving him just the same. What do you think of Dave Archer?
It's pretty cool. I think he's a stud.
Well, he's good looking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And to date, although no one has claimed he's the next coming of Joe Namath, the 2 quarterbacks do have a small-town background in common.
Do you think that maybe one day Soda Springs, Idaho will be as famous as Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania?
I doubt it. But, you know, we're going to try to do something about it.
Hank, Dave Archer reminds you of whom?
Well, I never see number 16 unless I think of Lenny Dawson. And he's very similar in a lot of respects. His Achilles tendon is about 2 inches longer than Lenny's. He's a little heavier, but I think he's got the same qualities in that he's very accurate, got great escapability skill, moves well by design, very accurate, and I think he'd make things happen when people are covered. I think he's a terrific young quarterback.
He's getting a lot of help, Irv.
I wonder if his Achilles tendon helps him throw the ball better. The defense also helps, too. Since Marion Campbell showed up here as a defensive coordinator, he's been a more effective quarterback.
All right, let's send you